Welcome back to Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. I'm Magnum Mills. This is the playoffs, and I'm here to help you seize the gap and increase your efficiency and hopefully make a couple of bucks along the way. It's the first round of the playoffs for the 2025 NFL season. This is the wild card round, and I'm going to be breaking down the two games on Saturday. Thank you very much for checking out this episode of Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. You can find our content wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Find us on social media at Seize the Gap FF and on the web at seizethegapff.com. Simple and easy to remember, just like the flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please remember to touch that thumb. And please remember, we're not affiliated with Draftkings or the Draftkings Sportsbook, but that's where we're getting our odds and wagers from. Everything is accurate as of January 7th, 2026. It's been a week, still feels weird to say. It's a new year, a new season, but we're starting off the same way with the tail of the tape. For the first game, which kicks off at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can watch it on Fox. We have the 12-5 Los Angeles Rams traveling to Carolina to face the 8-9 Panthers. Right now, the Rams are favored by 10.5 points on the road, minus 575 on the money line, while the Panthers are 10.5 point home underdogs, plus 425 on the money line. Game total in this one is 46.5 points. Could be a little bit wet in Carolina again, like we saw previously in the Bucks game last Saturday. 70% chance of rain, temperatures in the high 60s, winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. So not going to be cold, but could be a little bit windy and wet. For the Rams, wide receiver Devontae Adams and running back Blake Corum are off of the injury report, while guard Kevin Dotson and Terrence Ferguson, the tight end, are both questionable. Pretty clean looking injury sheet for the Panthers as of now. And then we have the nightcapper kicking off at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can watch it on Prime Video. The 9-7-1 Green Bay Packers are traveling to Chicago to face the 11-6 Bears. The line depends on which book you are shopping at, but right now, according to DK, the Packers are 1.5 point road favorites, minus 118 on the money line, while the Bears are 1.5 point home underdogs, minus 102 on the money line. Game total in this one is 45.5 points. Could get a little snow here, 40% chance of snow, temperatures in the low 30s, winds 15 to 20 miles an hour, so it could be a little bit of an impact here on some of the longer kicks and passes, just something to keep in mind. For the Packers, right tackle Zach Tom and safety Javon Bullard are both questionable but trending towards playing. For the Bears, wide receivers DJ Moore and Rome Odunze are both questionable. Moore should play. Odunze definitely possibly a little bit closer to doubtful than questionable. CJ Gardner-Johnson, the safety, is questionable. Once again, expect him to play as well. In the first game, we have the Rams, who are clearly the biggest favorite on the board for the wild card weekend. The most unique part about this matchup is the fact that the Rams have already traveled to Carolina once this season, where they lost in what was one of the best performances of Bryce Young's career, and probably the worst performance of Matthew Stafford's season to date, which could be, in fact, an MVP season. I don't know that it matters too much here. You have a lot of narratives going on. You have the division winner with a losing record, hosting the home playoff game. If the Rams had beat the Seahawks, they have a decent shot at being the number one seed. So it's a very different kind of environment for both of these two things. I think the Panthers, to a certain degree, are going to be happy to be here, while the Rams obviously are trying to take care of business and get back to the Super Bowl. I could see Carolina making this one into an interesting affair. If they can run the ball, force Stafford into a turnover or two, it's a very similar formula to how they won the first game. Yeah, you have the Rams here pretty much at full strength. McVay went out of his way in week 18 to try to play the starters, to try to build some momentum here. They've had a very effective two-man rushing attack with Kyren Williams and Blake Corum. Again, you have the dynamic pairing between Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. They have a whole bunch of tight ends. Higbee is back, so not a huge deal if there is no Terrence Ferguson, but he does add a degree of athleticism that not a lot of other people on that offense bring. So very interesting to see how it works out. I do think the Rams are probably going to be able to take care of business here, but it would not surprise me to see the Panthers at least keep it within double digits. So I think the spread is probably about right on this one. It really comes down to Stafford just not making any mistakes. If Stafford plays a clean game, the Panthers are basically going to have to be perfect. If he makes a mistake or two, gives them a little bit of margin for error. But again, Bryce Young is going to have to make some plays unless Rico Dowdle turns back the clock to 2 months ago and gets one of those crazy, 200 all-purpose yard type of performances. Ted McMillan, I mean, one of those two guys pretty much has to come through for the Panthers here, make things a little bit easier on Bryce Bryce Young. At the end of the day, I think the Rams are probably taking care of business. They just have to be careful not to look ahead of this one. As far as a hot fire here, a hot take, a bold prediction. I do not have Jamie G with me. Once again, he has got me his picks via the electronic mail. My hot fire here is just that the Rams are going to continue to run the rock. Give me Kyron Williams and Blake Corum combining for 175 plus rushing yards, 2+ touchdowns. That should be plenty, more than enough to take care of business against the Panthers. Jamie G is going to go the other way. He's going to say the Rams absolutely wipe the floor with the Panthers with Matthew Stafford throwing 5 touchdown passes. Could be 5 or more if he wants to throw 6 or 7. He can go for it. But I got the Rams running backs. Jamie G's on Matthew Stafford. Obviously, looks like we both like the Rams here. And then we have our vulture men, the guys who are going to steal the touchdowns from the primary guys, the creeper touchdown scorers. I'm going to go once again back to the well here with Tutu Atwell, the Rams wide receiver, plus 1,400. He's a deep shot guy. He'll either score a long touchdown or do nothing, probably only get somewhere between 1 and 3 targets. But again, they will dial up at least one long shot for him. If he connects on it, he's fine in the end zone at 1,400. That's worth throwing $5 on, something like that. Jamie G is going with basically the same guy, but on the Panther side, he's going with Jimmy Horn Jr. plus 1,200. Very similar to Atwell. They will manufacture a couple of touches for him. Probably get somewhere between 1 and 3 targets plus carries. If he can break a big one, he'll find the end zone. He's a pretty dynamic player. So both going with a similar concept here for our vulture men, the boom or bust wide receivers. And then the nightcapper is ironic for multiple reasons, one of which being neither of these teams has won since they beat the previous team. I think the Bears have now lost 2 in a row, the Packers 4 in a row. The last time the Packers beat a team was the Bears. Last time the Bears beat a team, it was the Packers. Remember, they had that crazy overtime game, DJ Moore coming through. A lot of annotation here, a lot of subtext. This is an NFC North matchup here. I think it's only the 3rd time that the Bears and Packers have actually met in the playoffs. Very, very interesting to see how this one goes down. Both defenses are kind of in a bad spot right now. The loss of Micah Parsons obviously has been huge for Green Bay. The Bears have been good against lesser competition, but generally when they've come up against a pretty good offense, the opposing offenses have been able to do what they want. So there is probably a world where this could turn into a shootout. But on the other hand, you could have some weather. These two teams know each other very well. Also, wouldn't shock me to get a really low scoring affair. So I think there's a wide range of outcomes for this game. You wonder a little bit about Caleb Williams. Same thing with Bryce Young. The records are not good for quarterbacks making their first start, especially on wild card weekend, generally indicating they're not playing for a team that was good enough to get a bye. I think he probably does pretty good here. I really don't want to pick a side on this one. There's a reason that this line you can find both ways, really. You can find Green Bay -1.5. You can find Chicago -1.5. It really feels like it might come down to whoever has the ball last. And in that case, I guess I'd lean Chicago slightly just because they have shown such an ability. They're just the team this year that's going to win all of these close games when they're trailing by a score with 2 minutes or less remaining. What have they won? 6 of those? Something absolutely insane. So I guess if it's a close one, I would slightly lean towards the Bears. They are also at home here. Seems like they have a little bit better momentum going. It's kind of the first time there. There's not as much pressure on them while Green Bay has been climbing up this hill for a while. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to quite climb all the way up the hill this season. And if not, there are probably going to be some questions about what the franchise will do going forward, especially after giving up 2 first-round picks to make that Micah Parsons trade. So there's a lot on the line. I think this could be one of the best games to watch for the entire weekend. Don't kill me, Eagles fans. I'm hoping that's a good one, but it's always kind of hard for me to watch the Eagles games because I get so nervous. But you have 2 division rivals. These 2 teams genuinely don't like each other. It's on prime time. Everything is kind of shaping up for maybe an instant classic here. So definitely going to want to get some exposure to it. It kind of comes down to, again, who can run the ball out of these teams. The Bears have been wildly successful. I think they're undefeated this season when they've ran for 140 plus yards. I remember them running all over my Eagles on Black Friday. The Green Bay Packers rushing attack has not been terribly consistent down the stretch. If we're going to be honest, I think Emmanuel Wilson, the backup, has looked at least as good as Josh Jacobs, who is obviously playing a bit injured at this point. You wonder who is going to step up for the Packers. Tucker Kraft was kind of that guy. They have everybody back now. You have Watson, you have Jaden Reed, you have Dubs. They have Matthew Golden, who's done like nothing. It's just really a bit of a crap and shoot for the Bears. At least Colson Loveland's kind of ascending at the right time. Really like what Luther Burden has been doing. You have the 2-headed running back monster there in Monangai and Swift. You have DJ Moore. Cole Kmet's kicking around. It's really interesting to try to find out exactly where the points are going to come from in this game and how many will be scored. So again, an extremely interesting game here. Very excited to watch this one. As far as some hot fire for the nightcapper, Jamie G says we're going to get one of those crazy defensive battles, 21 or less total points scored. So we're talking nothing here, like 10-7 kind of game. I don't know if it'll get that low, but that's very bold. I like it very much. I'm going to go with just a narrative here. I'm going to say the Packers are down like two scores, call it 10 points. Jordan Love gets hurt. Malik Willis comes in, leads the Packers to a victory. It's insane. He's going to be a free agent. That'll set off all kinds of interesting storylines. So I think that would be very fun. So that's what I'm going with. Packers are trailing. Love gets knocked out. Malik Willis leads them to the comeback victory. And then we have our Vulture Man here for the nightcapper. I'm going to go with the Rook. Give me Matthew Golden plus 550. Better late than never. Didn't really do anything for you if you draft him in fantasy. Honestly, you're probably pretty disappointed if you drafted him in your dynasty league and really didn't get anything from him all season. But why not now, right? Why not Zoidberg? Let's have Matthew Golden come through for us in the playoffs. Find the end zone at plus 550. Jamie G's going to the other side of the ball, also going with a wide receiver. He's going with Olamide Zacchaeus. Was a bit more of a player early in the year, but if Odunze misses time here, if he misses the game, it's likely that Zacchaeus will be the beneficiary, and he is plus 1100 to find the end zone. So again, probably not extremely good odds of it happening, but it's worth throwing $5 on. It's a shame that the fantasy football season is over, but no worries. We can just move our action over to Draftkings. We are down with the king. I'm going to be breaking down the showdown contest over on Draftkings for the Saturday games. We're going to start with the early game with the most crucial decision. Who do you play in your captain spot? This is a little bit of an interesting one here. Obviously, you have Puka Nacua sitting there right up top, but if you're playing in a cash game, a 50-50, single entry, head-to-head, something like that, I don't think you overthink this one. I think you go with Matthew Stafford. He is 16,200 in your captain spot, at least 23 DraftKings points in 4 of his last 5 games. He's got, like I call it, a 35-point-ish ceiling, rock-solid floor here, 22 points. Don't overthink it if you're playing in a lower variance format, and honestly, he is a perfectly acceptable large field tournament captain if you want to go that way. I do think if you are playing in a large field tournament, my favorite captain option is going to be Tataroa McMillan, the Panthers rookie wide receiver. He is 13,200. He has shown some ceiling. He had 36 DraftKings points against Atlanta back in week 11. He has not had a crazy floor otherwise, but he is obviously the most talented player on the Panthers offense. It is probably the best matchup for any player on the Panthers if you're going to attack this Rams defense. Good way to go about it is to work the outside corners. He is a very talented guy, probably going to be the rookie of the year. Not going to pick up a ton of ownership, and you make some serious salary savings here at only 13,200. So I really like getting some exposure to him in the captain spot. Will also work him into my flex, I am sure. But I think if you're in a large field tournament, you want to be a bit contrarian, you want to save a little bit of cash, I think he's your guy. Obviously, you have Puka Nacua, who is 19,200. That might be the biggest tag so far on the season, if I'm remembering correctly. Devontae Adams is significantly cheaper at 14,700. If I had to play one of the two at captain, Puka certainly has the higher ceiling, but given the fact that he is going to be the most expensive player and could be the most owned captain, I might just go ahead and take the savings and go down to Devontae Adams, who has been extremely effective in the red zone. He has been more of a high floor player, but I still think he has a ceiling solidly in the mid 20s, probably around 30 points. Obviously, Puka could put up a 50 burger, but you're going to have to pay for that. And his numbers have not been that awesome with the running attack working well and Devontae Adams back. He's had a lot of his monster games when Adams was out of the picture or the rushing attack was ineffective. I think if they can run the ball, get a lead, Adams vultures a touchdown, there just might not be enough meat on the bone for Puka here. So if I had to choose between the two at captain, I guess I would probably go with Adams, but I'm certainly going to make sure I have at least a couple of lineups with Puka at captain, just in case he does go absolutely crazy and get a 40, 50 point game game, something like that. I just think we have to prepare ourselves at this price tag. There is a decent chance he is not going to make value. So it might be a tough decision to leave him off of your lineup, but I think there are certainly spots where that could be a good decision. And then you have Kyron Williams, who I guess I feel like I have to mention here at 14,100. I do not think I would go there at captain unless we get some news about Blake Corum being out or limited. It has basically been a 50-50 split between the two. And Williams might get a couple more goal line carries. Maybe he is the slightly preferred option there, but for the most part, they've been close enough in production that I'm very hesitant to pay all the way up for Williams when you can save a ton of salary by dropping down to Blake Corum. But that'll lead to almost nobody playing him a captain. So if you want to do that as kind of a contrarian option, maybe you even play Corum with him in the flex and the Rams defense, something like that. I think you could go there. Probably not going to do it myself, but it is certainly a viable option if you want to have that type of build. It seems like we're going to have to spend a lot of money on our captain, so we need to find some value here. So let's play another round of The Price is Nice. At the very bottom here, we have Mitchell Evans, 1,800. The Panthers tight end is pretty much a touchdown or bust kind of guy. Should get like 2 or 3 targets. You could do worse for a punt play at 1,800. And then you have the other Panthers tight end, Tommy Tremble, 2,800. Found the end zone last week. Should be a little bit more involved. The Rams are kind of a middle of the road matchup for tight ends, but I don't mind Tremble here at 2,800, especially if you are looking to stack Bryce Young up. Tutu Atwell is 3,200. If you want to throw him in there with Matthew Stafford in the hopes that he gets that long touchdown, I don't mind that, but that's probably the only way I'm getting to him. I mentioned Terrence Ferguson before. You have a bunch of Rams tight ends here. Ferguson is 2,600, Higbee is 3,600, and Colby Parkinson is 4,600. So we're just going up by 1,000. You could throw Davis Allen in there as well. I like Terrence Ferguson. If he plays, he is the cheapest. The injury tag should drive down the ownership. Again, they drafted the kid in the second round. A lot of big play potential, certainly more so than the other guys, but Higbee and Parkinson were both productive last week. I think both will be popular. I would probably pay up for Parkinson just because by paying the $1,000 more, you're going to get him at significantly less ownership, but I do not mind working at least one Rams tight end in there, especially if I have Stafford in my lineup. And then you have Harrison Mevis, the kicker here, 5K flat, 12 or more DK points in 3 of his last 4 games. So again, it's kind of a last man in the lineup, especially if you're going to go with a build that's maybe a little bit of a lower scoring, ugly game. Don't mind working him in there. And then my favorite play, Blake Corum, $5,400. He is going to be in the vast, vast majority of my lineups. Just be very aware he is going to be very, very popular at this price. Then we need to fill out the remainder of the flex. If they are not at captain, Matthew Stafford is 10,800 and Ted McMillan is 8,800. Trying to work both of those guys into the vast majority of my lineups. Playing Stafford with Puka and McMillan can get pricey. It'll be a little bit tough to do things after that, so you might have to make some decisions. Kyron Williams is 9,400. Again, I vastly prefer Blake Corum, but there is some utility to playing Kyron Williams in a tournament because he is 4K more. The ownership should be significantly less, and there are builds where I will play both Rams running backs, so definitely have a preference for Corum, but I will try to get some exposure to Williams as well at 9,400. Bryce Young is 9K flat. Did have the excellent game against the Rams previously. Unless the Rams defense or Rico Dowdle goes absolutely crazy, it's probably Young that has to do something here. I'm not going to have a ton of exposure. I don't think I can really play him a captain. He hasn't shown that type of ceiling, but especially if I'm playing McMillan a captain, I think I can find my way to working Bryce Young into the flex in a few lineups. You can double stack him pretty easily with Tremble or one of the other receiver options if you want, including Jalen Coker, who's 6,400. Very nice creeper stack there if you want to stack Young up with McMillan and then one or of Coker or Tremble or even Mitchell. I don't really hate it that much. And obviously Puka Nacua here, 12,800 in the flex. Devontae Adams, 9,800. Once again, Adams probably makes the little bit better overall play here. He doesn't need to do as much to pay it off. Generally been a high floor option and Stafford's preferred option when the Rams are in close to the goal line. But Puka has that crazy upside. Just in case if I'm going to play Puka, I probably want the whole biscuit, so I'm more likely to play him at captain. I certainly will work him into the flex a little bit, especially in lineups where I have Stafford at captain. But I think this is a case if I'm going to pay the tag for Puka, I'm going to just bank on him having the monster Panthers, so I'm certainly going to have a lot more exposure to Puka at captain than I will have in my flex. And then you have the Panthers running backs. Rico Dowdle is 8K. Chuba Hubbard is half of that at 4K. A couple of weeks ago, it looked like this job was trending back towards kind of a 50-50 split with Hubbard getting most of the passing game work, which actually made him a little bit more valuable on DraftKings, especially in games where the Panthers would fall behind. It does seem like Dowdle has asserted himself here. He's certainly been more involved in the passing game than Hubbard has lately. So if I'm going to pay for one of the Panthers running backs, I think I'm going to go ahead, bite the bullet and pay up for Dowdle. If you want to build out a narrative where this is a real ugly game or perhaps the Panthers win, I think you can make the argument for playing both, but it's not something I'm going to do with any real frequency here, given the number of other options we have. And before we move on to the nightcapper, we need to get a little mini stack out there to help get you started. We need to do a little pack and a stack in the back of the act here. I have Matthew Stafford in my captain spot at 16,200. Following that up with Blake Corum at 5,400, Ted McMillan at 8,800, and Tommy Tremble at 2,800. So there's your little mini stack. Stafford a captain, Blake Corum, Ted McMillan, Tommy Tremble leaves you 8,400 per player to finish out your lineup building. There are a lot of ways you can go. You can kind of try to jam in that range. You can go with another value play and try to pay up all the way for Puka. A lot of options. Got some good bones, and most importantly, fits comfortably in the back of your rack. Let's move on to the Saturday night capper. We have the Packers at Bears. Who are we going to play in our captain spot? Once again, if you were going to be playing in a cash game, a 50-50, double up, head-to-head, single entry, something like that, cards on the table, don't know if I'm going to play a ton of cash on this slate, but if you are doing so, I think your best option at captain is Caleb Williams at 15,900. At least 17 or more DraftKings points in his last 4 games, 21 or more in 2 of the last 3. Has some rushing upside with the legs. We haven't seen it utilized a ton, or at least not consistently, but there is a ceiling lurking there. It's kind of a tough call. Him and Love have been producing at a very similar level recently. I just have more faith in what Williams has been doing, especially because he could possibly add the rushing component with his legs, which is something that Love doesn't give you very often. So I prefer Williams over Love, but if you wanted to try to work Love in there, I get it. And you could certainly play Williams in a large field tournament in your captain spot, but I think my favorite large field captain is the Bears rookie wide receiver, Luther Burden III. Only 9,900 in your captain spot. Decent enough floor, but again, when we're playing in a tournament, in a showdown format at captain, we really only care about ceiling. He certainly has that. He has illustrated he has a 30-point or more ceiling. Under 10K in your captain spot gives you a lot of flexibility. So absolutely loving Luther Burden III as a captain option in your large field tournaments. Mentioned Jordan Love. He's 15,600. He's fine, but he's only had 1 game with 21 or more DraftKings points since week 9. He's really been more of a high floor option. Depends on how this game goes. If it turns into a sneaky shootout, then perhaps Love can get you there. If it does remain a lower scoring affair, I think it's more likely that Williams is going to be the guy you want. And then you have the running backs. Josh Jacobs is 14,400 for the Packers. DeAndre Swift is the highest priced Bears running back at 13,800. Swift is sharing more work, but honestly, at this point, he has shown more upside than Josh Jacobs has. Jacobs seems to have been playing hurt. Again, Emmanuel Wilson has been more effective, at least in the reps that I have seen over the past month or so. Swift does have to deal with sharing the job with Monangai, but he is generally at the front of the line when it comes to receptions, and the Bears are perfectly content to give both running backs enough value to get home. I do not think I'm going to play either a captain with any real frequency, but if I had to choose between the two, it would be DeAndre Swift, believe it or not. Once again, we need to find some way to afford these expensive captain options, so come on down for another round of The Price is Nice. Not nearly as many value options here. You have Jaheed Walker, the rookie wide receiver for the Bears, only 2K flat. He is questionable. Make sure he is playing. I expect him to be out there, but I do not think he will have much of an impact unless at least one of Odunze or DJ Moore misses a game. He has been a little bit productive come on towards the end of the season, so don't mind him as a punt, especially if you were playing Caleb Williams. Luke Musgrave, the Packers tight end, is only 2,600. Disappointing the last couple of weeks. Did look like he was trending in the right direction, especially after the other tight end, John Fitzpatrick, got knocked out for the season. I don't think there's a ton of upside here. Probably touchdown or bust, but if you're looking for a cheap stacking option to go with Jordan Love, you could certainly do worse than Musgrave at 2,600. Kyle Monangai is 4,200. Absolutely love it here. Very similar to this kind of split we see between Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. Swift is definitely a little bit ahead in terms of the passing game work, but Monangai can be the preferred goal line option at times. It seems a little bit of the bigger back here. Could get some more of the work if the Bears can get a lead to close the game down as well. So really, really love him at 4,200. Just be aware, another guy who's going to catch a ton of ownership. Jaden Reed is 4,400. Romeo Dubs is 5,400. I like both of them. Dubs has generally been more of the high floor option, while Reed is the Bob, the boom or bust guy. So in tournaments, I'm probably taking my chances on Reed busting off a big play, finding the end zone. But if you're looking for a more consistent stacking option for Jordan Love, it probably is Romeo Dubs. You're paying up the extra $1,000, but he has had a couple of big games this season, so I don't mind it if you want to go there again. It's been very, very difficult to bank on any of these Packers wide receivers given the inconsistency. Honestly, we even have two more of them down here. You have Dontavian Wicks, also questionable. He's 3K flat. Matthew Golden, the rookie, 3,200. Obviously, between these two, I'm taking my chance on Golden. It's not a given that Wicks will play. He did have that one monster game earlier in the season, but at least they're kind of dialing up the occasional deep shot for Golden. Wicks seems a lot more hit or miss. He seems to get more work if they're missing one of Dubs or Watson. So we'll see how it breaks down. But if I'm dumpster diving for a Packers wide receiver, I am probably going with Matthew Golden. Let's finish this up by figuring out who we're going to play in our flex. If you're not playing him a captain, Caleb Williams is 10,600 in your flex, while Luther Burden is only 6,600. I imagine I'm going to have exposure to both of those players in the vast majority of my lineups, one way or the other. DeAndre Swift is 9,200 in the flex. Don't mind it. Again, Monangai is going to pick up more ownership. Swift is 5K more expensive. I do not think he has that much more upside, that much higher of a ceiling than Monangai, but I'm certainly going to work him into my tournament lineups, and I don't mind having exposure to both Bears running backs in the same lineup in certain builds. Christian Watson is far and away the most expensive Packers wide receiver at 7,800. He has been the most consistent, probably the best combination of floor and ceiling, so I don't mind paying up for him. I think if you're going to play one of the Packers wide receivers naked without playing Jordan Love with him, I think Watson is probably your guy in that circumstance. Colson Loveland, the Bears rookie tight end, is 6,400. He's been trending in the right direction. Not the greatest matchup against the Packers, but be a perfect spot for him to have a big breakout game, so I don't mind getting some exposure to him. Most likely is a stacking option with Williams at 6,400. If you wanted to pay up for one of the Packers, Jordan Love is 10,400. Josh Jacobs is 9,600. I prefer Love here. He hasn't shown the ceiling, but again, Jacobs has just been very ineffective for the last 6 to 8 weeks. Wilson has looked better. Wouldn't surprise me if this is a little bit more of a split job. It's not going to be 50-50, but would it really shock me if it's 65-35, something like that? Not at all. Jacobs is not involved enough in the passing game to really overcome it, so he is very touchdown dependent. So even though Love hasn't had a crazy ceiling lately, I'm taking my chances on him. At least he's cheap to stack. You just have to guess correctly on who to stack him with. And then you have the other Bears receivers. Odunze is 8,800. DJ Moore is 7,800. Don't really expect Odunze to play, but he will be a decent tournament option if he does so because he's been out for a while. He's got that questionable tag next to his name, so he will be the least owned of the Bears options. So if you want to be a little bit contrarian in tournaments, he is an excellent option. DJ Moore has been boom or bust, but he's come up with some monster plays, most notably the overtime game winner against the Packers a couple of weeks ago. So don't mind getting some exposure to him in tournaments at 7,800. Again, most likely in lineups where I have Caleb Williams, but I don't mind playing him without him in certain situations. My favorite pair of Bears receivers is probably Moore and Luther Burden. I prefer Burden, but I do not mind having both again if I'm stacking them up with Caleb Williams. And speaking of stacking them up, let's pack the stack in the back of the Mac, close out the Saturday night nightcapper here at captain, going with the tournament build here. Luther Burden III in the captain spot at 9,900, stacking him with Caleb Williams at 10,600, throwing in Christian Watson naked at 7,800, and then why not need another value play? So let's go with Jaden Reed here at 4,400. Just kind of got to hope they're the guys who find the end zone for the Packers. You certainly have the option of playing Love in this stack if you want. You have about $8,700 left per player, so you can certainly do just about whatever you want given the bones of this lineup. Again, a lot of interesting ways you can go. Both quarterbacks have multiple options you can stack with. There are some value options, not a ton, but I think there's enough to do what you need to do, and most importantly, to build a stack that fits in the back of your rack. It is money time, baby. Let's get ready to bet it, bank it, and blow it. This is the wagering portion of the program. Please remember, we are not affiliated with the DraftKings Sportsbook, but that's where we're getting our odds and wagers from. Everything is accurate as of January 7th, 2026. Here on Bet It, Bank It, Blow It, our preferred currency is the Cricket coin. In Cricket, we trust for some reason, so all of our wagers will be in the form of Cricket coins. We like to open things up with the golden grab bag. These are just some assorted wagers we like, but don't neatly fit into anything else that we're doing. So far on the season, on the Saturday slate in the grab bag, Jamie G is up about 151 cricket coins, while I am down about 312, putting us down about 160 overall. For the golden grab bag across all slates through the regular season, Jamie G is up about 1,165 coins. I am down about 658, putting us up about 507 overall. I have two offerings for the grab bag from Jamie G, one from each game. First up, he's going to put 100 cricket coins on Devontae Adams. Don't call it a comeback. 50 plus receiving yards. That is minus 133. 100 coins to bring back about 175. It seems very, very logical that this could go down this way. Not asking for much. Just a nice 50 burger, not even being greedy and asking for the touchdown. Then in the night game, Jamie G is going with a little bit of swiftness here. He's going to get swifty with it. He has 100 cricket coins on DeAndre Swift. We have 70 plus combo yards. That's 70 or more rushing plus receiving yards. This is minus 163. 100 coins you bring back about 161. Not the longest number, but I think this is very fair. I would totally expect Swift to be able to produce in this range. So a nice kind of little layup bet from Jamie G. He loves those little shorty going to be at thugs. I also have two offerings for the grab bag, one for each game. I am going to start out by taking the under on Puka. I'm going to have 100 cricket coins on Puka Nacua to have under 7.5 receptions. This is minus 133, 100 coins to bring back about 175. Like I said, when the Rams can run the ball and Devontae Adams is out there, Puka just doesn't need to do that much. And I'm going with the receptions here because they will occasionally give him a carry. He can certainly bust off the big play, but 8 receptions is more than you think. So I really like the under 7.5 here. And then in the nightcapper, I am going to go with a combo prop. I'm going to go with a receiving yards combo prop. I have 100 cricket coins on Christian Watson and Luther Burden III to combine for 100 or more receiving yards. So Watson plus Burden equals 100 or more receiving yards. That is minus 118. So a wager of 100 coins to bring back about 185. Again, they're the receivers. I like both. Again, these are the receivers that I like the best from each team. I like putting them together here, just asking for a hundo, especially with the big play ability that both of these guys have. I do not think we're asking for too much there. Before we go any further, I just want to slow things down for a minute and just, do a little tease. You know my tease. Generally, Jamie G is the master of the teases, but I think it's going to fall to me this week. Overall, on Saturday this year for the teasers, I am down 300 cricket coins. I have had the only offering, so we're down 300 on Saturday. Missed my only offering last week. That was 100 cricket coins. For the season, across all slates, JBG is down about 804 coins to the teasers. I'm down about 486. Our collaborative teasers are down 60 coins, putting us down about 1,350 overall. Like I said, I have the only tease for the week here. I am going with a 3-leg 6-point teaser. This is plus 140 as available on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Leg number 1, I'm teasing up Carolina here. Give me Carolina plus 16.5 versus the Rams. Leg number 2, going to take the under in that game, under 52.5 for the Rams at Panthers. And we're also going to take the under in the nightcapper, Green Bay at Chicago, under 51.5. Those are your 3 teaser legs. Carolina plus 16.5, Rams at Carolina under 52.5, and Green Bay at Chicago under 51.5. 100 coins at plus 140 to bring back 240 cricket coins. You know my tease. I will never tease anybody about degeneracy. We are serious about degeneracy here on Bet It, Bank It, Blow It. In fact, we have 3 degrees of degeneracy we would like to show you. That's how it works. You're just there, and in three simple, easy steps, you go from the high life to living under a bridge. Last week in the degeneracy on Saturday, I turned a profit of about 130 cricket coins. For the degeneracy on the Saturday slate through the regular season, I'm up about 27 coins, and across all slates in the degeneracy, I'm down about 1,297 coins. So I've been a good and proper degenerate in that I am down, but I'm not making enough money from you overall, trending in the right direction recently. Let's try to keep it up here. First up, we have the first degree of degeneracy. We call it the Flounder in honor of Flounder from Animal House. Sweet, innocent, just dipping his toe into the waters of degeneracy. Here we have 100 cricket coins on the Rook on Tetaroa McMillan to have 60 plus receiving yards. This is plus 107. 100 coins to bring back 207. If the Panthers are going to move the ball through the air, McMillan is going to have to do some work. Next up, we have the second degree of degeneracy called the Barney in honor of Barney Gumble, our favorite degenerate down at Moe's Tavern. We got 50 coins here, and we're putting them on Kyle Monangai, the Bears rookie running back, to have 50 plus rushing yards. That's plus 114. So a wager of 50 coins returns 107. And then the final degree of degeneracy, the third degree, we have the cricket in honor of Rickety Cricket himself, living under a bridge with dogs. Here we've got 25 coins, and we're putting them on another Bears rookie, this time on Luther Burden III, to have 80 plus receiving yards. This is plus 471. 25 coins to bring back about 143. Might seem a little steep, but last time I went with this, I think he had more than 130 receiving yards. So we're listening to DMX. I'm going to stop being greedy. I'm not asking for 100 or more yards. Just give me 80, please, and thank you. Being a degenerate, not so fun. Watching degenerates, very much a good time. And we like to have a good time here on Bet It, Bank and Blow It, especially at the Parlay Partay. This is a fantastic party. You can have a lot of fun and make a couple bucks, but the price of admission is a parlay. Last week, I had the only offering on the Saturday slate. I missed, so I turned a loss of 100 cricket coins. In the parlay party on the Saturday slate for the season, I am up 350 cricket coins. I've had the only offering, so we're up 350 overall on Saturday. For the parlay partay across all slates, Jamie G is up 553 coins. I am down 730. Our collaborative parlays are down 500, putting us down 677 overall. So it is time to get back into the green. Jamie G's got the offering this week. He's already in the green. He's going to try to take it even further. He has a four-leg team points parlay here. He's got a lot of thoughts on who's going to score what. Leg number one, he has the Carolina Panthers over 14 and a half points. That's minus 175. In that same game, he has the Los Angeles Rams over 26 and a half points, also minus 175. In the nightcapper, he's got Green Bay over 20.5 points. That's minus 160. And Chicago over 21.5 points, minus 139. So he's got all four team totals in play here. Carolina over 14 and a half, the Rams over 26 and a half, Green Bay over 20.5, and Chicago over 21 and a half. Parlay those four legs together. Your odds are plus 517. A 100 coin wager brings you back 617 coins, almost enough to put us back into the green overall for the season. That would be an occasion to partay. As always, we close out the episode with our visit to the glorious Golden Goose, provider of the golden eggs, which we pass on to you in the form of our favorite wagers for each game. Last week, I had the only offerings. I went 1 for 2 for my Golden Goose wagers on Saturday, turning a profit of about 93 coins. I hit on Bucky Irving to have 90 plus combo yards, but missed on the San Francisco 49ers money line. For the Saturday slate in the Golden Goose, across all weeks, I am down about 30 coins. Jamie G is down about 74, putting us down about 104 overall. Across all slates in the Golden Goose through the regular season, I am down about 627 coins. Jamie G is down about 394, putting us down about 1,021 overall. Yeah, it was a really, really rough Christmas Day slate. Jamie G is first up here with his Golden Goose offering for the first game. He's going with his guy, Matthew Stafford, to have 250 plus passing yards. That's minus 128. So 250 coins brings back about 445. For the first game, I'm just going to stick with the rook here. Give me 250 coins on Tetaroa McMillan to have 60 plus receiving yards, 250 coins to bring back about 518. Again, if the Panthers offense is going to do anything, I think McMillan needs to be the guy getting work done. Next up, I have my Golden Goose offering for the Nightcapper. I'm going to stick here with the rookie. Give me Luther Burden the third. I'm going to drop it down slightly here. Give me 50 plus receiving yards. That is plus 125. So a wager of 250 coins brings back about 563. Jamie G is last but not least here. He's got the final wager for the Golden Goose, and he's also going with a Bears rookie. He has 250 cricket coins on Kyle Monangai to have over 45 and a half rushing yards. That is minus 112. 250 coins to bring back 473 and a little change. Thank you for not changing the channel and sticking with us here on Seize the Gap. Really appreciate it. Any questions for the weekend about your DraftKings lineups, about a couple wagers, anything at all, throw them in the comments on the YouTube video, on the podcast, hit us up on social media, all that good stuff. Good luck to you this week. Good luck to your wagers, your DraftKings teams, all that. Just please don't be rooting against the Philadelphia Eagles or the Buffalo Bills. Thanks again for checking out Seize the Gap. You can find our content wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Find us on social media at Seize the Gap FF and on the web at seizethegapff.com. Simple and easy to remember, just like those flaps, FLAPS. Very crucial to our success. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please remember to touch that thumb. I'm Magnum Mills, reminding you to seize the gap so you can stop being so inefficient. I don't care if you're old, you need to seize the gap.
Turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek.